Now, John, I've been a big fan of your work for a long time. Of course, you know, growing up watching Tales from the Crypt, you know, and Tiny Toon Adventures I loved as well. Even though I was a little too old to be watching it, I still watched it anyway. Now,
it was made for adults as well.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and now I want to ask you a little bit about you know, your body of work. First of all, is there anything that really stands out for you, like as far as like in front of the camera work?
Well, you know, I started in a theater, so it was, you know, I mean, a lot of my work was only seen by, you know, the amount of people who got to see the show on stage. So, and you know, sometimes that's the best kind of work you can get. So there's that. Of course, my television work was launched by winning Star Search as a stand-up comedian, which was kind of an odd story in itself, that I started out in the theater and was doing a play off Broadway called Three Guys Naked from the Waist Down about stand-up comedians, and I played a very odd comedian, and the show also starred Scott Bakula and a guy named Jerry Colker, who wrote the script and lyrics, and Michael Rupert, who's a Tony Award-winning actor, wrote the music, and it was a big hit off Broadway. And I got approached by people from Star Search in its first year and asked if I would compete, and I said, well, you know, I'm not really a stand-up comedian. And they said, well, you can win $100,000. I went, okay, shit, I'll do it. So I went on, and having done street performing and sketch comedy and that kind of thing, I was creating my bits for the show, and I won, beating Rosie O'Donnell in the semifinals and Sinbad in the finals. $100,000. That wasn't me, and and that launched my television career. And because I hadn't really done much stand-up comedy, a lot of my material was doing voices and characters and that kind of thing, and that's how my career had launched into Tales from the Crypt.
I noticed seeing your IMDb resume, that was really kind of where the voice work started, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And
yeah, definitely. It was really the first big voiceover job that I did, and of course it launched, it was such a high-profile job, it launched a big voiceover career for me, which as an actor is a real treat, because I'm not typed out by how I look or my age, or I get to play villains all the time. I don't really get to do that on camera very much. Occasionally, you know, but not a lot. Over the years, I did a lot of TV series. First and 10 was my first series on HBO. That ran 6-7 years. Then I did a series called FM for NBC, and
I remember that show.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
Yeah, it lasted what, about a season?
Yeah, it lasted a season or two. Robert Hayes and Patricia Richardson and James Avery and all these really great actors on that show. It was really Fred Applegate, really good show.
I want to ask you about Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness, definitely a labor of love.
Now, because we were talking before the camera got here, a little bit about your experience on stage doing the show before it actually got turned into a movie. And I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that for the camera.
Yeah, the director Andy Fickman and I knew each other through mutual friends, and had done some sketch comedy shows and that kind of thing together. And he called me. He said these two very talented writers who wrote the book and music for this new musical based on the 1936 scare film Reefer Madness. They wrote a part that they've had you in mind for since they saw you in Three Guys Naked from the Waist Down, and they love your work and they think you'd be great in it. And I had a lot on my plate at the time. I was doing 2 series and Tales from the Crypt as well, and I said, God, Andy, I'm really busy. He goes, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, I'm in, because I know Andy. When Andy says it's going to be fun, I know it's going to be fun. So we did the stage production. To our surprise, it wound up running in a small theater in LA for over 2 years. and got picked up to go off Broadway, and we launched it off Broadway. Sadly, right before we opened, September 11th happened, so we literally wound up opening 3 days after September 11th.
Oh, wow.
Which was very tough. We did get an audience in locally in New York, but of course tourists weren't coming into the city. So I think that we wound up being a show that people could get away from the horror of things and go laugh and have a good time. It was a very timely show to be there at that time. And then eventually wound up becoming a movie musical for Showtime, which was just a great time. We had I think I probably had more time shooting that in Vancouver than any other show that I've ever had worked on before.
And it seemed like you kind of snuck in the Crypt Keeper laugh in that movie at one point.
You know, I mean, it was Ralph. Ralph was cackling, you know, stoner. So, I mean, my voice is there in the Crypt Keeper's laugh, so you can't, you know, you can't help it winding up there somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I think when he died, I think we threw a little bit of Crypt Keeper in there.
Yeah, I was always such a big fan of that movie, and you know, watching all of the other stuff that you've done over the years, I've just been such a big fan. This has really been an honor to talk to you. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to all my fiends out there, be careful what you ask for. You may get it.